we cannot get the same quality here. So it's almost like we are beneath them. It's almost like it's been institutionalized. It's almost like the bureaucratic pieces of shit who work in KRA, who work in Treasury, are conspiring with these foreigners to ensure that we remain a suppressed people. You look at our coffee. Our coffee is diminishing in our production, but the best of our coffee is taken outside the country. And then they go and take just a fraction of it, 10%, and then they mix it with 90% of Brazilian coffee, and then it is imported here as Nescafe, and you idiots are here, you are celebrating that you're drinking coffee, yet it is 10% of the same coffee that your parents and grandparents are growing in their farms. You understand? So we've been deliberately put in this state, and then they come and scaremonger you and tell you, build and fashion all these narratives about stability and economic prosperity, but it is them who are prosperous. Us, we are remaining here consuming third-rate products while we have the capacity to build. And one thing we should be focusing on is domestic consumption, value addition, so that when we are exporting something, we are not exporting to a go down in Dubai so that it can be value added and packed and branded. We can do all of that here and create those jobs so that we sell to these Muzungu pieces of shit at the same value, at the same marked up value that they would buy from somebody else. And that is what farmers in Latin America are doing. So it is, and that contempt continues spreading to how we approach our immigration. For instance, in Kenya, any foreigner can land in JKIA and get a visa on arrival. But us, we go to the US Embassy, you are queued there. They make us go through hoops. They take our application fees. They don't even refund. Which is why I was saying the other place we should be occupying is occupying US Embassy. Because how do they charge $200 for an application? Well, they already have a quota where they know we are going to allow these ones. They already have a quota. So today they say we are only allowing 20 or 30. So everyone there, you're just going as a formality because they have pre-decided and predetermined who is going to get a visa and who is not going to. And then we have seen this Meg Whitman. She has insinuated herself so much in our policy making. She's taking selfies. She's doing a lot of PDA with Ruto. And I'm saying, who the fuck does she think she is? She's just a mere diplomat brought here to serve a purpose. She's supposed to be neutral. She is not even hiding that she's pro this faction of the political divide. She doesn't care about Kenyans. She's here serving commercial interests. And we as Kenyans are supposed to clap for her because Ruto held an umbrella for her. That is the highest form of contempt. We are here because of colonialism. These are the offshoots of colonialism in the 60s and the 70s, and we still find ourselves in the age of the Aquarius. We are still complying with such nonsensical PR stunts. So if we are saying occupy everywhere, we also include occupy US Embassy, because number one, they have enabled this rogue regime. They have facilitated all these things you're seeing, the murders and the genocide and the massacres in Githurai and Rongai. But over and above that, they have implemented, because we have a weak Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they have implemented some immigration policy where Kenyans are made to feel as if we are going to beg for visas. You should make those decisions earlier, so that if you're not going to give somebody a visa, you're going to refund 75% of the educational or of the applicational fees. And I think everyone, we are on board with that. I'm going to touch on something about education. We are where we are because, number one, of our media is very toxic. You have seen how they tried to suppress the numbers of the people in Kware, in Mukuru kwa Jenga. They were lying blatantly. Linus Kaikai, shame on you if you're listening. You're full of shit, you journalists. Journalists should not be allowed anywhere where we are doing our protests or doing our activities. Because if you're going to get the real information from the people and then you go and alter it because you've been paid by State House, then we should not allow you to be there. So journalists are one part of the problem. Number two, we have religion. And number three, we have the educational curriculum. We've been talking about something called the quota system. I've been speaking about it severally. So during the Moi era, they came up, and during 844, they came up with something called the quota system, where now they select, it's almost like they sieve, it's almost like they cherry pick the best brains, which will go to some certain schools which have better facilities than the others. But if you look, and Jimmy was talking about the amount of money that has, we've been expending in the name of debt. We've been collecting. Now this year they've collected 2 trillion in taxes. They are going to borrow another probably 2 to 3 trillion in another in loans. But we are not seeing anything on the ground. The counties are not building anything. So the quota system, and there is this misconception that the government built Alliance School or the government built Mangu High School. No, the schools were started and they were donated by colonialists. They were donated by the colonialists because they had grabbed our land. Now they wanted to make some concessions to hoodwink the people who are stupid by then, to be hoodwinked with a church. It was always the Holy Trinity. So there was always a church, a school, and a hospital. So they hoodwink you with that. They give you that trilogy. And so the land was what was donated, and then they mostly donated it to the church. But the parents who took their children there were always charged a development fee, and that development fee was in every fee structure. And that is what was used to build the schools. Over and above that, there used to be harambes. So there is nobody who can claim that the government has ever built any school. But why do we find ourselves with this so-called capitation? And again, I repeat that you idiots who are saying that Matiang'i should be president, you need to understand that they allocated hundreds of billions of shillings over 10 years to go to capitation, money that should have gone to build schools instead. So that instead of converting social amenities like halls into or dining rooms or whatever, instead of converting them into boarding facilities, then we would have expanded the educational facilities and educational access. I gave you another example. There's this saying that the closest school is the best school. So instead of having a boarding school where I saw there's a lady called Karibi who sings, and her son got an accident when he was leaving Chavakali coming back to Nairobi. Why are we subjecting students to these long journeys to go to school? What we should be doing, the closest school is the best school. Like now Nairobi, all the schools were amazing if you look at Upper Hill and whatever, but because subsequent boards, subsequent management, subsequent counties neglected them, so the schools have reduced and fallen in stature and in their quality of education they provide. But they were high-end schools if you look at them today. But even Kibera Olympic, it used to lead in the KCPE results. So what we need is not now to come up with more entry barriers under the guise of quota system and whatnot. Every county, every CDF, every constituency receives no less than 110 million per year. The cost of building a school is 10 million. Why are we all cramming? We are chasing all of us to go to Mangu, to go to Alliance, to go to where, while we should be concentrating on the amount of money that is stolen in the grassroots. You understand? It's the same thing with hospitals. The cost of building a referral hospital, KU, which was the last one, was 10 billion Kenya shillings. Why is everyone rushing to Nairobi to KNH while these governors are just blowing a lot of money? We already have the numbers. Thankfully, because of the likes of Jimmy Wanjigi, we've been able, I knew there was corruption. Trust me, 2 years ago, I knew there was corruption. I knew they used to steal money. I just never put it into context, the level at which the theft is perpetrated by the political class, until I saw the actual numbers. So this is real. We are speaking about people who are repatriating our money, stashing it into foreign accounts. I was contacted by a group who said that they are the people who are behind Ruto not addressing the Congress, and they said now they are mapping all the bank accounts, foreign bank accounts that are stashing Kenyan proceeds of crime. Those are the same people you celebrate in the country. Those are the same people who you love and adore and whatever. So back to the illusion of national schools is that we now need to have national schools in every county. We've already identified that it costs 10 to 20 million to build a functional school with every facility. Then we abolish boarding school. Boarding school, absorbs a lot of resources from parents, because they have to invest in bed, they have to invest in uniforms, they have to invest in what? And sleep is not a productive activity. So that we lay more emphasis. First of all, we expunge religion from the curriculum. We remove the churches from managing schools so that they are run by professional boards. We lay more emphasis on sciences, on science, on technology, on agriculture, on sports and arts, so that we can create now a new, so that we cannot have like 100% of our graduates, all of them aspiring to do business administration or to do what? No, we have artists, we have musicians, we have agronomists, we have everything. We have even vocational training. Now there is a shortage of, you get somebody to be an electrician for you, they are meeting you with a lot of shoddy work, because they haven't perfected the art, and it has to start not just in high school but in primary school. But we've been bogging kids to do a lot of homework, carry big bags, waking them up, I don't know, at 5 a.m. to go to school. That is to learn important subjects which will not even be relevant in their careers in the future, while they should start. If somebody is good in sports, if somebody is good in music, if somebody is good in being an electrician or whatnot, they should start in primary school so that they start perfecting the craft earlier in life. So that is one of the. And then the church has captured, especially our politicians, because our politicians now love masses when they go and address masses, and then it comes on TV, and then they feel they stroke their bloated egos after saying absolutely nothing. So the church can be there, as an oversight. And then religion should be a mandatory undertaking in every school. If a kid feels they are Christian, nobody should block them. If there's a Muslim, there should be all those facilities in every school. But they should not be driving policy. They should not be herding students to their mental impotence. We have seen the position they have taken in our political dynamics today. We don't trust them. We no longer listen to them, because they have shown us that given an opportunity, they will be always inclined to identifying and gravitating towards thugs and thieves like William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua and whatnot. So we remove them from the educational establishment, and let's start investing in our youth, so that. Okay. Sorry, Amerix, how much longer?
1 minute.
1 minute. Okay. So we expunge religion from the curriculum, because this CBC was an imposition of Fred Matiang'i and Uhuru and God knows who else. We don't know whether there was public participation, but even if there was, we have come to understand that public participation in Kenya is a formality. It's just done, for the cameras. But now let's be intentional. And even as we are talking about overhauling the political and economic structure, let every sector contribute in a way. You already know the challenges that affect you in your, whether it's in industry, whether it's in agriculture, so that we have one harmonized document to overhaul our economic blueprint, so that we build a new one, we anchor it to the constitution, so that in future, one president cannot wake up and say, oh, because I hate Jimmy Wanjigi, I used to love him, he's my friend, let me go rock up to his house and raid him when his family is there. We don't want to see such scenes again, and they will only be a figment of our imagination. They will only be a distant past if our reforms are intentional, if they are deliberate, and if they are forthright, and if we are all committed to the same particular process. Thank you very much, Amerix, for having me.
Thank you very much, Francis.